it was the perfect time to take a shadow picture. That means you take a picture of your shadow while you're riding. It's totally stable of cross-country biking. Gotta have your shadow picture. With our huge packs and our panniers, we were gonna have especially dope shadow pictures. Micah, he thinks he's like a professional photographer, so he's doing a lot of bullshit with the shutter speed and the framing and what have you. And we're taking our shadow shots. And then we hear a truck coming. Or I hear it, and I assume Micah does. Well, I think he does because we both hug the shoulder a little bit, still taking our shadow photos. And the truck, it gets louder and closer, and it passes us. I see it's a Tyson truck, just full of fucking crates of screaming chickens just packed together, and there's feathers flying out of the truck bed like some sort of, I don't even know what kind of metaphor. And I scream up to Micah, who did I mention's in front of me. Look at that fucking slave poultry. And he looks back at me. His left hand was on the handlebar, and his right hand on that bullshit professional camera. And he looks back at me. And he's laughing. And then he goes to say something. And the truck bed separates from the cab. And it flies backwards. And it takes him off the road. Before the ambulance came, this PR lady from Tyson came. I didn't realize I was still holding my camera. And then she was like, "I'm sorry, sir, but we're gonna have to confiscate your camera." And she had to like yell it at me for me to hear over all these freaked out and maimed birds. And I was like, my best friend is under 3,000 chickens. And then she was like, "I know you're upset, but this will be easier for us both if you would just give me your camera now." And I was like, I couldn't get to him. He's buried under there. Where's the fucking ambulance? And then she was like, "I'm gonna ask you one more time." And so I threw my fucking camera on the ground. So what I don't have is these pictures from Wyoming. We did these stupid little corny timer shots. It was at the top of the Continental Divide. In front of that sign that says, like the altitude and all that shit. There was still snow up there in June. He caught a fish in Yellowstone with his bare hands. He stood real still, and he reached in. And I had this picture of him holding this fish that was longer than his head and neck. Oh, we dipped our back tires in the Pacific. Because, it's another corny thing you do. Because then when you get there, you're supposed to dip your front tire in the Atlantic. Which I haven't done yet, incidentally. I don't know why. So I had this stupid little video of him dipping in his back tire, and then he was pretending to fall off a rock into the sea because he was just he was a fucking clown, He was a gifted physical comedian. So there's all these pictures of him that I don't remember taking. Maybe losing those is worse than losing the ones that I do. It took them about 45 minutes for them to get him out. The funny thing was that he didn't sustain any trauma to his head or anything. He was just face down in the mud with hundreds of pounds of weight on him. He gets suffocated. The part that everybody's mad at me about is that after I went to the police station and I filled out all the paperwork, I called my mom, and I called his mom. I got back on my bike, and I kept riding.
I didn't hear a lot of what you said because I don't have my hearing aids.